Thank you for tuning in to the Failed Podcast. I am your host, Sam Esquivel. Here at the Failed Podcast, we focus on failures and challenges and the challenges that our guests have experienced, along with the lessons that they have learned. Our hope is that you learn from their lessons, and if you're facing challenges, maybe one of our guests can encourage you to keep going. Through the power of conversation and asking the right questions, we hope that we leave you with some insight and wisdom that can help you face your failure and challenges. On behalf of the Failed Podcast, thank you for listening. And now we want to welcome our guests, Timothy and Taylorean. The T&T Podcast are in the house again. Fellas, how y'all doing? What's going on?
Man, I'm good, man. Just living, working, getting my life in order, trying to get closer to God. Everything.
Oh, yeah, definitely the closer to God. TNT, we back. I just want to say that was a incredible opening, by the way.
Yes,
it's making
sir.
me think like what kind of opening we could do for our podcast.
I was thinking that the whole time he was doing the opening.
Impeccable.
I'll help you put it together. Here's what in the beginning, I knew the idea of the Failed Podcast, so I could wing it and cover one or two sentences, but the rest was just winging it. So I said, nah, I got to change it. I'm trying to not only do the Failed Podcast, but I'm also trying to motivate and teach people to do a podcast and be more structural, right?
Yeah.
And kind of do things on purpose. And so that's why I wrote it. And so thank you guys for noticing that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course.
Tell me what y'all been doing. It's been a while since y'all came on. Our podcast is on the list. If you're watching this, we're right over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, just scroll on down. You'll see the TNT guys down there. We had a great first podcast when we worked together, but I just felt like, you know what, we had a good conversation. I felt like we had good chemistry. I wanted to have y'all back on. A lot of life has happened. A lot has changed for y'all. Tell me a little bit about TNT. Tell me a little bit about what y'all planning, or I'm excited y'all here.
Yeah, I guess I could start off. We got a lot of stuff in store. We've been working with some people, talking to people, networking. So we got like some interviews and stuff that we got coming up. So
Nice.
A whole new set, networking with people, just trying to get a whole new, it's like a rebrand in a sense. So,
All right.
yeah, man.
I love it.
100% for sure. Yeah, last year I would say the focus was mainly like change, and then this year it's more so like applying that change. We did a lot of networking last year, like he said. We connected with a lot of different artists. We do plan on having a lot of different artists on the TNT podcast, and just been coming up with different segments and different ideas to come back with the podcast. We want to come back strong, and I'm glad that you brought us back here because what we did last time I feel like was amazing. So I'm glad that we're back.
Yeah. So you guys, man, I was on a few road trips and I forgot who I texted, and I said, "Send me a list of music. I want to jam
That
out."
was me.
So you put me onto your playlist.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I learned so much. Like I think hip hop and hip hop culture has so much depth. Like we haven't even seen the true impact of what it could have on society on the more positive side. Like now it's starting to roll out because now we finally have some veterans in the game. It took a while, and it's just like, it's not like any other genre. If you go to country, there's a lot of old folks, and there's gonna be a lot of old folks coming.
Yeah.
But with hip hop, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
And especially right now, there's an epidemic in the hip hop culture, and that is they're killing each other.
Oh,
and we're going to touch on that a little bit. And the rate is super high considering the amount that there is. And so, everyone's watching and everyone's analyzing and saying, no, this, maybe I don't know about this genre or whatever. Look what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't like that. I think that there's always more to it, but people judge a lot of things by.
I got to ask though real quick.
Yeah.
Which playlist did you send them? Because we have a lot of Bad Bunny in our
So,
playlist that we just made.
It was before we made our playlist, so I made him just a random playlist.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So it wasn't a playlist like we had. It was just I made a list of songs.
Gotcha.
But so we hadn't had the second playlist out yet.
I was gonna say because we got to send you our because we make an end of the year playlist every year of
Yeah.
the top 100 songs that we think are the best songs,
Send
and it's a
it.
mixture of
Yeah.
everything. It's rap, it's everything. Everything is on there. So
well, you guys y'all were talking about like producers and stuff, and you kind of made me realize what's important to look a little bit deeper and look at who's producing and who's doing. So I don't just listen to stuff anymore. I'm watching who's producing it, how it sounds, what's the flow, how long they've been in the game, who their influences are, and because that's how deep it goes. And so I'm going to read a few things here, and then y'all jump in and tell me how y'all feel. I put hip hop culture. Okay. This is like a hip hop 101 and a lot more. I'm not trying to put y'all in a box either. These guys, they keep track of like culture, what's going on with music, and that just you learn a lot. You know, whenever you're into music. It says hip hop culture is a cultural movement that emerged in the Bronx, New York City in the 1970s. It encompasses the four elements of hip-hop: emceeing, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti writing. It has since evolved to include a wide range of styles and subcultures and has a significant impact on global popular culture. Hip-hop culture is known for its emphasis on individuality, expression, and creativity, as well as its use of social and political commentary.
Yeah.
Whenever you think of hip hop culture, how would you define it around those terms?
For me, I would always go back to like the civil rights movement and all of that and what they were pushing for. And I feel like that was like transferred over into what hip hop is, what it started out as. Because now hip hop has like multiple subgenres. Yeah. So you can get like conscious hip hop, the social political stuff, or you can get like the turn up stuff, or you can get the lyrical miracle stuff, or you can get just laid back, whatever type of hip hop.
What do you prefer? What out of those genres?
So the first one that I listen to is like the social political stuff. So I'm into conscious hip hop. So give me an example, maybe one or two artists or songs. So the roots. So that's like Black Thought and Questlove, and then Mos Def, Common. Who else? Lupe Fiasco. The super conscious people like KRS-One, Rakim, people like that. They're lyrical and they're conscious at the same time. So.
All right.
Timothy? I think it's just what you said about expressing yourself, really. I mean, really, when hip-hop started, it was dudes that were on the block that were taking what they saw every day and just telling their story through the music. And now it's changed so much because it's the music business now. It's not just hip-hop anymore. But, like how Taylorean said, I mean, some artists would take, civil rights. Maybe that's what they believed in. They wanted to push that they put that in their music. Yeah. Some people would criticize hip hop and say it's too violent. I don't necessarily think it's too violent if, a person is just telling you what they saw whenever they were growing up. They're just telling you a story. Now it's changed a little bit. Yeah. It's changed a little bit. So I think what it is it's just artists that are expressing themselves through music the best way that they know. And yeah, that's really it.
And so, like on the Failed Podcast, we focus on failure and challenges, right? And I feel like whenever you talk about hip hop culture, there's a lot of fails. There's a lot of things going on right now that people don't like, but there's also a lot of challenges. Since it was born, man, people were pushing back on it all the way from labels on CDs, boycotting artists. I mean, talk about failure and challenges. You can literally apply it to hip hop. And it keeps going. Yeah. It keeps growing. It keeps influencing. And I like the connection I want to make is that if you can learn one thing from hip hop is that keep going. Like you're going to have stuff come against you. And they've had it like left and right from presidents to organizations to communities that are saying no. And it keeps going. I think that's just very encouraging. And so we're going to talk about a few things that I looked at, and then I just want to get your insight, okay? But before I go, look at that little mic right there. You see it? Is the little green light on? Okay, good. If it turns off, tell me, because that means we're not live anymore. And I'm joking. No. Okay, so I got this on thesource.com, okay? And it was written by Sean Grant, and it says, Snoop Dogg on induction into Songwriters Hall of Fame. And he says, God is good. That's what he said. He said the next class of Songwriter Hall of Fames will include black music icons Snoop Dogg, Said Aid, and Teddy Riley. The 52nd annual induction on the award gala is set for Thursday, June 15th, okay? And here, hearing the news, Snoop Dogg hit Instagram and celebrated his achievement in a video. And he said, let me read it here. It says, according to Billboard, this will be the 5th induction ceremony in which a songwriter, hip hop artist will be recognized. And so Snoop Dogg joins Jay-Z. He was inducted in 2017. Jermaine Dupri, 2018. Missy Elliott, 2019. The Neptunes, Chad Hugo, and Pharrell Williams in 2022. So, I mean, it's stacked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
This is important. And this is really not like the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's been around a long time, but this is good. So the music industry does not exist without songwriters delivering great songs first. It's without them, there is no record music, no concert business, no merch, nothing. It all starts with the song and the songwriter. So give me your thoughts on Snoop Dogg being inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and how do you feel about songwriting and how important it is?
I'm actually really, really happy for Snoop because even though I've been like in and out of like listening to Snoop Dogg, I've always still kind of followed him because like everything you see, he's on. He's not just hip hop; he's on like everything, commercials, everything. So like to see him like get into the Songwriters Hall of Fame from like how far he's going as far as like starting with Dr. Dre to now, I think it's amazing. And I think songwriting is like a big thing because, well, for me, I feel like a person can make a song any way they want to. They cannot have a chorus, the hook, and they could just rap the lyrics, and that could be the whole song, and I'm good with that. But to actually make it into something like that, to me, it's pretty awesome because Jay-Z, that's elite. Missy Elliott, Pharrell, that's up there.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, and I feel like a producer also has a big play in that also, like being around somebody that knows like the chemistry with your songwriting and their like beat making. Yeah, I think I'm happy for him. And I think, songwriting is a big deal. I feel like Snoop is like taking that.
It's well deserved, you think?
Yeah, it's well deserved.
Yeah.
It's well deserved. I feel like we should have been in that like years ago though. Like we being honest.
That's a little behind.
Like as far as hip hop,
Yeah.
because if I'm not mistaken, I think hip hop is the youngest genre.
It might be. I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, it's only
1970s.
Yeah.
I think it just turned 50, right? Hip hop just turned 50.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, it's
And
not
how
even,
many Godfathers we got?
Exactly.
There's very few.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
I think about Tupac, and I said, well, what if he would have been around?
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean? Like, what would he have, how would he have adjusted to media and the way things are? Could he have been as impactful as Snoop Dogg?
Oh, Snoop-
Where he's
yeah.
selling Doritos and he's performing. I mean,
Tupac would have been canceled a long time ago. Let's be honest.
absolutely.
He would have been canceled a long time ago.
He would have been canceled back on. He would have been Kanye before Kanye.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
we don't even have to get into that. The Snoop Dogg thing, though, like that should have been a lot. I mean, his first album went diamond.
Exactly.
He sold 10 million
10
records
million.
from his first album. First album. Not to mention
people nowadays can't comprehend what it means to sell 10,000
No.
albums.
Absolutely
Like,
not.
it's a physical product that people had to go to the store, drop. What was it? $15, $12
It was
back then?
it was $9.99. It was about $12.99
yeah.
for the deluxe. And we were just talking about this because back then when you had to actually get out of your house and go and buy an album,
physically buy it.
now you just stream it. It's like instant. Like you
Yeah.
just instantly have it. So for someone to be able to sell 10 million albums off of his first albums, he should have been there a long time ago.
Man.
And then as far as the songwriting thing goes, like I have a different respect for songwriting because I feel like people don't really understand what songwriting is. You know, there's this whole thing about, ghostwriting and, who's writing your records and who's doing this and that. The thing about songwriting is when you're an artist, right, it takes talent to be able to write a catchy song, verses, and a hook. That takes a lot. A lot of people think, you just go in there and it's just easy. No, that takes a lot. So we like to listen to lyricists. We like to listen to rappers that just rap. That's great. That's great.
Give me a few lyricists for people that are listening, watching.
Oh, man.
Keep going.
Like
Shay Nord,
three.
Lupe, of course.
I love Elzhi. I love
Elzhi.
Elzhi.
Cairo Munch.
How about like popular culture? Like,
I would say Kendrick.
J. Cole.
Okay.
J. Cole. I would consider them lyricists. A lot of people don't consider Drake a lyricist, but I do.
Yeah, I think Drake is a lyricist.
Drake can rap.
Like
even
when
on
Drake.
his last album, The crazy one.
That wasn't a rap.
We
album.
love that. We love that
album though.
Dude, me too.
Yeah, so I love
Bro.
it, but like that's his like not non-rapping stuff. But like when he really want to rap, he can
go.
be a lyricist, like a lyricist. Like,
He can go.
Yeah,
But yeah, songwriters, I have a different respect for that.
I do.
And that Snoop Dogg, that should have been happening. He
I mean, think about it. There's a lot of challenges that he faced to make it to now, to be talked about on news everywhere. He's a safe bet for a lot of people, but he's still tapping into hip hop culture. People still respect him, and that's just the path that if these hip hop guys make it, they gotta get in popular culture. I mean, I know there's like underground stuff, but in order to get heard, you gotta. I don't know. You got to get big advertising dollars or whatever. You know what I mean? Some people call that selling out, but I feel like it just extends your reach.
And you got to learn how to write songs too, because remember when Diddy played the Juicy beat for Big,
he was like, "Nah,
what is this?
I'm not rocking."
And Diddy was like, "No, but listen, rap on this, and you can go."
Yeah. And because Biggie was street and lyrical, he was like, I don't do old school.
And that's the one they did together, the song.
Yeah, Juicy, and that was just certain ideas and like Big Papa, like that had like old school type of samples,
right?
Where he was like, he wasn't feeling it at first, and then like when it came out, it just skyrocketed and just it put him on the map. So
Now, like for someone like Snoop Dogg and obviously Jay-Z and Mos Def and Jermaine Dupri getting this recognition, what do you think that says about like people, culture accepting hip hop? Like what would be one of your like highlights from this happening?
For me, I'm just like, I guess it's just like a about time type of thing. For me, it's like we've been knowing what the culture's been doing and what it's been pushing, because like hip hop is bigger than I think in any genre, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's pushing boundaries like none other.
I think it influences everything.
Yeah. Everything is influenced by hip hop, but hip hop is like, I feel like went past the influence that influenced it. Like, it's kind of wild.
I was like walking in the mall, walked by those like stores that sell shoes. I don't want to give a plug unless they pay us.
Right.
They're closing there. I just watch it change. Like year by year, and I'm just like, hip hop is influencing the shoes, the colors, the sweatsuit outfits, the way I'm like, dude, it's so crazy, man.
I think that's what it says. It says to me relatable. Like a lot of people can relate to hip hop artists and their stories and where they come from. And it may be good or bad, because there's a lot of bad, people, stuff that gets they relate to it as well. But
you gave me the hoodie. Y'all got hoodies on.
Yeah.
So you realize it's a hip hop culture thing.
We know.
And it's so huge. The hoodie is like an everyday clothing item, even in the summer. I'm just like, dude, I feel like slapping people. Like, it's hot. It's hot. But it's not hot in the office. I get it.
That's a fact.
But I'm just saying, like, you could break it down to the hoodie. And that's hip hop, and it's crazy, man. But I think that this story, when I read it, I think it overcame a lot of failures and challenges that hip hop artists, hip hop writers face throughout their journey, especially up and coming guys. Like right now, the dudes that are 15, that are 16, who are writing, and they're thinking, what's my end goal? Like what can I aim for? And then now you have like, oh, here's the Hall of Fame. Not that there's a lot of people left out, but it gives people something to aim at. And that's what I liked about it. Okay, so now I'm going to hit y'all with something a little more on this is a challenge. This is a fail that I think the community is experiencing right now, and that's like the death rate in the hip-hop community, okay? And again, I got this on the source, and Shirley Ju wrote this, okay? And it says, A$AP Rocky honors late rapper in new single, Same Problems, okay? Follow me here. The Harlem, New Yorker native unveiled his latest single, Same Problems, via ASAP Worldwide, Polo Ground Music, RCA Records. And it says the new single sees Rocky reflecting on all the losses that he's had to ensure over the years, especially artists in the rap game. The song was initially previewed during his Amazon Music concert. He introduced the song by stating this: rest in peace to everybody we lost in hip-hop throughout the years. You got to know that we're the highest statistic of losing people. No other genre loses rock stars, pop singers, or country artists, hip hoppers, we get killed and shot every day, overdoses, and all sorts of unfortunate events. So this next song is dedicated to everybody that we lost or anybody who ever lost somebody. And he continues and he says, without preaching too much, I just wanted to touch on something a bit different, opposite to just being braggadocious and loud. And he just wanted to bring this positive message. He wanted to bring awareness to what's going on. This is in the news. A lot of people are talking about it. What's your take? Did you see this ASAP thing? If not, either way, I read it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with ASAP. I feel like hip hop it's almost like an epidemic. Like you know what I mean, like it's happening in our genre. Feel like more than any genre, like you just said. And nah, I agree. We need songs about peace because I mean the original elements of hip hop was like peace, love, and having fun. And I feel like that's like the thing we should like get back to. Not saying what we've been talking about hasn't been relevant or anything, but it's like I feel like we can just bring more peace and love to the world. Like that'll bring. I don't know. It could give people a certain change of heart. You know what I mean? So, no, with ASAP, I agree with the song. Like that's what we need right now, especially with all of these losses in the past. I would say 5 years. Yeah. It seemed like it's been a rapper like every year or 2 rappers a year.
I've lost count at this point. Like we've lost so many people, but this is so layered. It's ridiculous because it's the artist, it's the fans, it's the labels, it's all of that like in one because there's a persona that you have to keep in rap. And like it's like with the Gunna situation, like with Young Thug, they're on that RICO charge and Gunna got out and now everybody is saying that he's a snitch. So now everybody's unfollowing him on Instagram and all these different things, and it's like this persona that you have to keep up for these fans that don't even know you, and then the labels, they push the violent music because it's making them more money. And then when the artist dies, it's just like, all right, we're just gonna go on to the next one. So it's so layered, and I don't know like what. There's no answer. There's no answer to fix it. Like you really just have to kind of take a look at like where you come from. You know, kind of like where you come from, because that's where it starts. I mean, these artists are really just like what I said earlier. They're kind of talking about where they came from, but now artists are still doing the things that they did before they got rich, which before. That's what was different before. That's the downfall. The rappers before were trying to get out of the streets, and now rappers are getting out of the streets and going back to, like when Young Dolph was murdered, he went back to his hometown and they murdered him at, where was he at? He was at like some cookie spot.
So yeah, he was getting cookies. Yeah.
Can't even go get cookies in your own
in your own neighborhood. Mo is from Dallas. Mo got killed in Dallas. In Dallas.
It's ridiculous. It's
go
ridiculous.
Back to your own city, get killed.
So it's a layered thing, man. I don't even have like an answer for that.
I know. I mean, it's like it's jealousy. It's like, hey, okay, when you get out, what do you do? Can you lift people? Can you lift a community from their thinking? Like your thinking makes you. Like your culture, your background, dude. It gives them what they need to launch. Right. But at some point, they have to grow out from their community and become the artist. Now I'm an artist. Now I'm a creative. I write and I produce, but they can't. They make that transition. They keep going back to get more content per se, to get more experience. And it's no. You moved on and let's bring the community out. But I don't know. It's happening. I think more people are going to be talking about it. God forbid, let one of these big names, not that none of these guys weren't respected, but let a big name step into some drama and let's see what happens. But that's also the point I want to make is what can you do now so it doesn't happen to a bigger or the biggest name in the game? And so he put it out there. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that it's a hard subject to talk on because it kind of what the hip hop culture, music and stuff kind of where it comes from, it almost makes you believe it's important to keep it alive. But if it's like murder and drugs and all that, maybe it's not so important. Maybe there's some things that we got to let go in order to progress a little bit. Right. But it's a tough one. But I thought that was something cool to talk about and touch on. I wanted to ask y'all a few questions, okay? Now I know that y'all lot wider than hip hop, but we're gonna just zoom in a little bit, and then you can take a question, and then both of y'all, or we'll just move. We'll just go how we feel. Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about your background and how you got into hip hop?
Oh man. That's a great one.
Yeah, that is a good question.
I mean, that was just me just listening to my dad, listening to music. Like, he would drop me off at school in the morning in his, like, 98 Camaro or whatever year it was, and he would just be blasting, like, everything, like Biggie and Tupac and everything, and I would just be in the back like, my dad is so cool. Like, I just want to be just like him. And, it would be one of those embarrassing moments, too, where you would, like, be dropped off to school at the same time, the windows would be down, the music would be loud, and everybody's looking like, but I liked it. So just hearing him, and then my mom exposed me to good music too. She listened to a lot of good R&B, and of course hip hop came from R&B essentially. So I remember just growing up and being in middle school and going through different phases. Like, there would be one year where I'd be like, man, I'm really into Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like, y'all listening to, like, Lil Wayne, and I'm like, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like, that's nothing. And then the next year I'd come back and I'd be listening to Biggie, and it would just, And as I got older, I really started to, like, look in the background and, like, look at producers and songwriters and all these different types of things. And now it's just, like, I love it. It's a big part of me.
Yeah.
So...
Well, mine wasn't like his. It was more. Mine was more. I stumbled on hip hop because my mom didn't play nothing but gospel music. Like that was it. Like, it was nothing else. Like, so. But when I was with my dad, he'll play some stuff that's like on the radio that was popular at the time, or like a lot of African music. My dad's from Ghana, so he'll play a lot of music from Africa. And I just stumbled up on hip hop. It's like, it just started on like Biggie, then it just kind of went from person to person to person, just like being on YouTube. Like, I knew what hip hop was, but I didn't know what it was, if that makes sense.
Now, how old are you guys?
Ooh, so
we're about to be 30. We're both about to be 30.
Okay, I'm 40. Okay, there's a 10-year gap in there that we, if you're watching, you're gonna see that gap because. I kind of grew up and I was born in 81, so I was jamming out in the 90s when stuff was coming out. People were like, there were the CDs, all that stuff, the tapes. We still had tapes. We were listening and burning tapes. That's when I was born. So I kind of, when I grew into it, like, I was listening to Bone Thugs and Tupac and all those when it was happening. Like, it was so, like, I saw the news the channels. I heard the churches and preachers like going against everything. Like, it was so crazy. And then now looking back from now and watching the way like young people come across music, dude, they get it like times 1,000.
Yeah.
If they like someone, they can dig deep. Back then, it was like, here's a magazine.
What you see, what you get.
That's
type of
it.
thing.
There wasn't. You didn't really know everything.
Yeah.
You were like, here's the music. What do I bring to the music? Not what that guy brings to me. It wasn't like that. Even the clothes they wore, it was normal clothes. They would just tweak it a little bit. Now there's like categories of clothes that belong to hip hop culture, but it was a lot different. I think that 10-year gap is going to show itself a lot when we talk, and so I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
because you said YouTube and we didn't have YouTube. We had MTV barely, and so most of the stuff wasn't even allowed to be played on TV. But that's how we would be taking music in. We wait for it to play on the radio and we push record. We have a tape in there, like, it's playing, okay, go.
That's what I was going to say.
That's how we would capture music.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if we would be able to survive back then. If I want to hear an album from an artist, or I need to hear a song over and over again, I need to hear it. Like, I can't wait for it to come on, like, with tape. No, I wouldn't be able to survive.
And think about this. Okay, so the boombox came out and it had the tape player and the CD player on top. Yeah. And that was a game changer because you could be like, let me borrow your CD, man.
Right.
And then that's when we started making playlists. And we'd be like, all right, ready, play, record. Okay, next, play, record. And it was just crazy, man. But it was a lot slower back then, a little different. I just wanted to point that out, that it was important. Okay, here we go. And Taylorean, we'll go with you first. How do you stay current and informed about developments in the music or in the hip-hop culture? What do you read? What do you watch?
Man, I feel like it's a vast majority of things. Of course, social media is there. Listening to like a lot of music. I feel like I just like immerse myself in the culture, like listening to a lot of music, reading articles, social media. But then with me, I have to have a balance because I don't like a oversaturation of things. Like I don't be wanting like a overload with like stuff so I try to like keep a balance with that. But I don't know. I read a lot of things about hip hop, and then I listen to a lot of things. So I feel like that's how I stay informed. Yeah. Because I don't like to like overdo it with the over immersing myself. Like, but I feel like that's the way I stay in kind of in the circle. Yeah, just music, YouTube, just interviews. I watch a lot of interviews of artists, so I feel like that's how I stay in the know. But I try to keep a balance about not overdoing it. But some days when I'm doing it, I try to immerse myself in it. But I try to have a balance even with that. So
got it.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that? Because of course, like social media, different. There's several different platforms that you can go to. Like I like to watch Drink Champs with Nori because as salacious as his podcast is, there's a lot of history there from all the different artists that he brings on. But the reason why I say it's funny is because I learn a lot about hip hop from just listening to the music. Like when you listen to the music, there's a lot of different references and things like that I can pull from. And I feel like a lot of people don't listen to the words anymore. I listen to the words. That's where a lot of my knowledge comes from. It's actually just listening to the records because they drop different jewels on their albums, and I love listening to B-side records too. Oh yeah. So that's really where like, and I enjoy doing that. Like I enjoy dissecting the music. That's where a lot of my information comes from. Yeah. But different podcasts. I follow all of my favorite artists on Instagram and Twitter and different hip hop pages. So Yep.
That's how I stay in the know.
Using your resources.
Now, in the Metroplexes, that's where we live. We live in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're watching and you're not from the area, it seems, now y'all tell me if I'm right or wrong, I don't have my ear to the hip-hop culture that heavily, but the hip-hop culture scene in the Metroplexes is growing. The shows, the artists, they're using the platform like social media and stuff. They're using it a lot better, and they're doing like these cross-cultural things now. How do y'all feel about that? Are y'all noticing the same?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like this is the spot.
First, I want to just shout out to all of the people that we know. Nezzy Mamadou. Yeah. Shout out to Nezzy Mamadou, dope artist. I want to shout out Sideshow Tilt.
These are all local?
These are all local artists. Okay. Our guy Fidel, he's an MC. Chris Teague. All the people that we've had on the podcast.
My Fiasco.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all these amazing.
She's an R&B singer, but she works with hip-hop.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, she just got signed too. Yeah. Shout out to them. But I love it.
Gotta bring some people on.
Oh yeah, we got definitely.
Yeah. We've had Nezzy before. We had Christian before. Yeah. We're trying to bring some people on this when we bring it back. So yeah, we got some stuff coming. So it's exciting.
It's great. I feel like a lot of people are just doing different networking things, using their resources and stuff, getting together with podcasts and stuff. So
let's try this, okay? And can you make a playlist of local people?
Absolutely.
Maybe 10 to 15 songs, okay?
Absolutely. And it's going to be more than 10 to 15.
Yeah, that's fine. And then whenever y'all send me the description so I can put on the podcast, send me some of their handles. Okay. And we'll see if when we launch this, if we can get some attention their way, because I like to measure the impact that the podcast has. So that's a great way. So if y'all, I'm going to give y'all that task. If y'all can do that, for sure, and so that I can put it on, and I work fast. So as soon as we turn that off, I edit and I shoot it. So as quick as y'all can do it, do it, and then we'll just see if it can get some legs, get some attention.
So these artists they're the
real deal. We'll just say that
they like real quality artists. They come like they
and they have shows around all the time.
Like some have shows, some are like kind of like moving around, but like they have shows. Like some like just getting started with certain things, but we got they
and y'all go to a lot of shows still. Y'all still
like we
not as much as we used to. He always says that we've put in our 10,000 hours because we used to go to concerts from like 2014 to like 2018. We would be at concerts every week. Every week. So we
grown. We grown. Gotta work.
It's more like local shows now. That, the artists we were seeing were more like big artists. We still see big artists, but we going to like shows of like people like that we know.
Yeah,
it's cool.
trying to support.
Like
Absolutely.
we supporting them, so we're going on like a lot more shows like that. So I'm liking that a lot.
We'll put something on the description below and just kind of put something out in the community and help each other out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, here we go. Can you share any advice for people just starting out in the hip hop, listening to music, or even if they want to be a producer or they're rapping, because y'all kind of talk to both songwriters, producers, you see the process, you know what it takes, on what they can learn so that they can step into this.
Yeah. Get you an attorney. That's all I'm gonna say. Get you an attorney, and you need to know the ins and out of business.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm gonna just be straight up. It's not easy. Like, it's not just gonna happen. Like, you have to put in a lot of work. It's a lot of work that has to be put in.
It's so common. So many artists that are older, they all got taken in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot who I just read about it. There's like a 30-year clause, and they're just about to get their music.
Yeah.
Someone else
so
owned it.
crazy.
And it's like after 30 years, you got to give it back, no matter who it was. And it's so it must have been like, man, it's someone super famous, and anyways, they're about to get it back, and then see what happens. And it's just like, but that whole time, it wasn't theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many
horrible
different
stories, man.
Oh yeah, so many horror stories. But yeah, you gotta educate yourself, because once you become a brand, there's so many different things that go into that. There's your music, there's your merchandise. If you're a songwriter, you want to make sure that you get publishing. Just because we were talking about Future, Future just sold his entire catalog for like $75 million, and it's just like there's so many different things that go into
For $75 million?
$75 million.
Do you think that was it premature?
He's smart for doing that. He's really smart for doing that, because he releases music at such a high volume that he'll just be able to he'll be able to create another catalog in 2 years.
So he got rid of the old stuff. He wants to.
He makes music at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole new catalog. He can own that or still do whatever he wants with that. So like
it's like almost compared to like boxers and MMA. Like the old school guys, they were like boxers, like 1 fight a year, 2 fights a year,
right?
And in MMA, like fighting every weekend, man, till you get to the top, and then you slow down,
right?
Do you think that's still the pace? Like are the top dogs like really? Are they making stuff like 4 times a year, 5 times a year, or they just?
Yeah, it depends on the artist, because certain art, like a person like Kendrick Lamar, he doesn't drop that often, but when he drops, it's so big, like he never left. So like some people have to make music constantly, then certain people they just kind of.
Then you have artists like Griselda, who I'm a stan. I stan Griselda. They're huge on merchandise. Yeah. They make a lot of their money on merchandise. So you can't just fall back on music, especially with the way music is kind of set up now with streaming. Artists are not they're making like a penny off of their music.
Yeah,
so
a portion of a penny.
A portion of a penny.
Spotify pays a portion of a penny, like with certain, like with artists. It's wild. Like,
but
it's crazy.
Going back to the artist thing too. Last time when we were here, I kind of like premised it like me and him were anti-industry, and I don't want to say that we're anti-industry. Right. I don't see a problem. There's not a problem with an artist signing to a major label, because they have resources, and if you want to get your ideas out, you need those resources. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm against signing to a major label, but just make sure that all your ducks are in a row.
Industry is not one-dimensional.
No,
there's the horrible side, there's good side, there's bad people, good people. Man, I was going to ask y'all, okay, the Taylor Swift debacle, where her catalog got bought by
Scooter Braun.
And she wanted to buy it back, and whatever. He's holding the cards. Ugly situation. She said, "I'm going to just redo it."
Yep.
Now, the drama aside, there's one thing that stood out whenever I started looking at it, kind of through your lens, producing it, doing live, being in a certain time, a certain place. You can't reproduce that. Like, things are stuck in the time that they were made.
Right.
And even if she remade it, it becomes more of a product now than ever, than the expression. And I think that artists really, like, where they're at, the equipment they're using, the people they're producing with, has a lot to do with the music.
Yes.
Like, you just can't say, I'm going to re-sing it and call it good.
Nah, it doesn't give the same feeling, because I know Ashanti is doing that same thing where she's recreating like her first album. And I'm like, but it doesn't have that same feeling.
Like, let Sade go and recreate some of her albums. I would be like, no.
Exactly.
Like, this is unacceptable.
You can't redo that.
No,
you know what I mean?
This is unacceptable.
It's some stuff can't be duplicated.
No, I agree.
But I feel like Taylor Swift is a part of the 1% of the artists, like her, Drake, and a few other people example, Bad Bunny and The Weeknd, where her fans are just gonna buy their music no matter what.
Yeah,
So
just to get at the man and be like,
So that's definitely
Taylor Swift will be fine.
Okay, there's another thing that I caught, and it had to do with the speed. There was when you used to screw things. You should play really slow and be
Chop
and screw.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a big Houston thing.
Big Houston thing. Well, now there's the opposite. They're speeding things up, and there was a question. There was a thing that was surrounding that. And that was, if you speed it up, you change the ownership of the song, and so artists, in essence, and this is my theory. They were redoing albums, and I'm not sure. I didn't look deep into it, but I remember listening to about it. They would speed them up and release albums, and then whoever owned the original one was kind of out of the picture, and then the new one came out at a different speed. Now it's all in litigation. It's a new fight that's kind of showed itself up in the hip hop community, and so to me, I said this: I own a song and I play it at times 1, right live, and then I go to times 1.75, and on your phone you can change speeds. So you release it at 1.75, and then when you play it, you just push 0.1. So I'm just saying, it takes up less space. It's almost like smart compact, like you think of like Amazon and UPS, the way they pack things so you can ship more. It's almost like that. So instead of it being 1 gig, it's 500 megabytes. But then you slow it down, you get the same song. I don't know. Have you heard about that?
I don't think I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's new.
I haven't heard about that, but it's not going to last for long, and I'm going to tell you why.
I'm listening.
Tell you why. Because every time artists figure out a way, keep hitting the mic, I'm sorry. Every time artists figure out a way to like cheat the system, they stop it. You remember when artists were doing the bundles? And they were putting out their albums, and they were like, if you buy my album on my website with a T-shirt or whatever, it's going to count as 2x.
Yeah, like an album sale.
An album sale.
Yeah,
they stopped that, and they were like, no, we're not doing that no more. So like when Drake released his Certified Lover Boy album, he was projected to do like 1 million. He did like 400,000 less because they stopped the bundles.
Yeah.
So they can try that.
Exactly.
They can try it, but they're going to stop it. They're going to stop it.
They're going to figure out a way.
But I thought that was interesting. Like, there's always challenges. And some dude that was smart, he said, I'm going to speed it up. And some even sound cool sped up. You know what I mean? But that's like a new genre that's kind of in the background. But anyways, I don't know nothing about it. Just wanted to throw it out there.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Interesting, though.
All right, here we go. How do you see the hip-hop culture and the industry evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's such a...
Or what would you like to see?
That's a deep question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What would I like to see? I mean, I don't know. I would like to see artists just learning from artists that are like owning their stuff, or I don't know, even if you want to be like Future and like sell your catalog, if the catalog is valuable enough to sell. Not saying people's catalog isn't valuable, but if you know that your catalog can make that kind of money and you feel like it's worthy to sell, I would like to see maybe more artists do that, or just take ownership of your art, and if it can sell, like keep going with the art. But I would say people learning from other people, like we've been saying, kind of the fundamentals, keeping like just like doing your research. Like you said, get an attorney. Yeah. It's like just like constantly like doing research and knowing what you're getting yourself into.
So the understanding of hip hop,
grow. Like the culture and the business, and knowing how to put them together. Like people are learning that, but I hope people can constantly get more in depth about that. You know what I mean? So
you know what I want? I'm gonna be completely honest. All of that, but I really want social media to be taken away from rappers. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if you could do that, but just take social media away, because when we talk about rap, the death rates and all these different things, and people putting out their business, people being so accessible, take away social media and learn more about the business and stop trying to, because that's what's happening. I mean, these artists are putting on this persona for social media and their fans that they have to keep up with all the time, and I think it's taking away from the art. It's not about music anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not.
Yeah, that
take away social media.
But I agree with what you said earlier. Like, how y'all didn't see like an artist until like they was on TV. I almost kind of like that.
There was a mystique.
I almost like that sense of like what you see is what you get from an artist at the time, because it's like almost like artists are too accessible, and it's like the access is almost like getting them killed.
Like you think of Eminem. He's pretty quiet. Like he keeps to himself.
He only comes out when the music comes out. Like
I gotta respect that. He's got a lot of hate his way, but I think that's something that says something, you know. But he's also an old school guy. He's an OG, so you know that's something. That's also something to consider. Yeah. By the way, this is just to make y'all laugh. The Mariah Carey Christmas song that she wrote. Okay, people don't. You know, she makes like $2.5 million a year.
I'm not surprised by that.
On that one song, anyways. I read an article the other day, and I was like, "What?" I know everyone was at home, and they said this. I could write that song. I could write a Christmas song. And what I told my wife was this. I said, look, anyone can write a song. Anyone can do a painting or whatever. You know, people look at a Picasso and they're like, I could do that. It's like, but it's the name. It's the background. It's the catalog. It's the fame. It's so much goes into it in order for her to. But anyways, I remember reading that, getting a little upset. Anyways, let me continue. I'm like, I can write a Christmas song.
That is so funny.
Okay, tell us about a person or experience that has influenced you as far as when it comes, like in a positive way when it comes to hip hop.
Kanye. Well, and I know that's kind of bad to say right now with everything that's going on. So
I don't care.
Let me just say, I'm gonna say pre-Trump Kanye.
Watch. Go ahead.
Pre-Trump Kanye was.
I'm joking. I put the volume down.
I was like, huh?
What happened? No, go ahead. But if you don't lose your train of thought, if you're watching this, there's so many topics, subject, names, issues, whatever that you're like, don't say it is off subject. If you want to learn, you got to talk about it, and when you talk about it, you got to do it in a good way for all of us to learn. And so, anyways, I mean, the mic is yours, man. Don't even worry about people watching. I'm serious. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. No, I would definitely say Kanye, because like he was the first artist that really like made me. I heard hip hop before Kanye, but he was the one that actually made me fall in love with hip hop. The College Dropout made me fall in love with hip hop from all of the different. Racial topics that he talked about on there, growing up where he grew up in Chicago, his mom, all the different relationships that he had. And, you know, he made me, you know, as a young kid, he just made me feel like it was okay to be me. Like, you know, because hip hop was mainly all about the streets and all that at first. And then he came and he was wearing like pink polo shirts and like a Louis Vuitton backpack. And even though that Louis Vuitton backpack was kind of like a backhanded like joke, it was cool to me. It was really cool. And then, you know, when he got signed to Rockefeller and was under Jay-Z and all that, I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. So I would definitely say Kanye has had influence on me somewhat as a person, just being able to express yourself, because that's what he was doing. He was just expressing himself. A lot of people thought he was like a jerk or whatever, but he was just expressing himself. And I think that he influenced a lot of people to do that. So pre-Trump Kanye, I would say Kanye.
Yeah, his story was amazing, man. It like when his Netflix thing came out.
Oh, yeah, the series.
It inspired me. I'm like, man,
great, man.
It's incredible.
He can make it. I can make it, man. Now I got to work hard. I got to know my craft. Like it didn't say lazy and not informed. It was like, dude, you got to step up and know who you are.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to do that, because there was a lot of scenes in that documentary where he would be in like parties with Jay-Z and they would like walk past him like they didn't even know him, and he just kept going.
And what got me about that special is that he had a videographer recording it, like
the whole journey, even the failures.
He's a visionary.
I love that. Like
I
always thought about that. I was like, are we gonna ever see something about Kanye where like it was like actual footage of him where he like failed to get to the success? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was thinking about
it's
that.
like I think of that. There's one thing then where he won an award and he goes, I wrote down what I would say if I lost, and he goes, I guess you'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
I
love that. I love that speech.
Yeah,
man. And then Snoop Dogg's quote, he goes, and I want to thank myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? At the very end,
I love that at the. I think it was the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
He was like, I like to thank all these people. He was like, at last, I like to thank myself.
But not least, I want to thank myself.
Yeah. And that scene is so wrong, but it shouldn't be, because you should thank yourself and show yourself.
Who got to clock in?
Right.
Exactly.
Who's got to take the criticism?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like these aren't even. I'm not even recording, bro. No one's watching. I'm joking. It's just us, but it's all good. Okay, how about you? Positive influences in music
For me,
or an experience or something.
For me, I'll probably say, because I listen to him a lot, I'll probably say Andre 3000. Like, well, Kanye really is probably my main person, but like Andre is just another person like from Outkast that I was just like, he just inspires me to just be great. Like every verse he's on, and even like going back to like the Outkast like documentaries when they went to what's his name? L.A. Reid, and like L.A. Reid was like, nah. And then like, cause they was like, nah, he was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. Then they came back, and then they got signed, and then Outkast got put on the map and all of that. Like, and it was even more deep because Big Boy was in high school, and Andre 3000 dropped out of high school, so music was like his only avenue. He was just like, it's just gonna be music. And then when they like got to the label and they was like, nah, we don't want to sign y'all. And then they had to do all of this other stuff and then finally get signed. It was like, that's a big inspiration because it's like, now Andre 3000 to me is like goated. Like every verse he dropped, like, or every feature he's on, I'll be like, that's a testament to not giving up. Like,
okay, which album of his would you recommend for someone? Because some people are listening right now, and they're like, who's Andre 3000?
The whole Outkast catalog, I say.
Okay.
I say Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music, ATLians, Aquemini, you just keep going. Speaker Box, Love Below, Stank On Ya. Like,
I love Aquemini.
Aquemini is probably my favorite
That's my
album.
go-to.
Yeah, that's probably like my favorite. It encompasses like the hip hop, the soul, the funk, all of that stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole Outkast catalog and any feature, I would say any that Andre's on, like he kills everybody. So
all right, I got a few more things that I'm going to touch on, but I'm going to put them on hold. I got the guys from T&T here, and they're loading up. They're getting ready to rebrand, and then they're just going to hit the podcast, YouTube thing, all new again. So stay tuned, and as soon as y'all do, I'm going to plug y'all, and see, y'all got my support, whatever y'all doing.
Appreciate that, brother.
But there's some segments that I asked y'all to bring. To kind of, just pass the mic over to y'all for a little bit, and that way the audience can see what y'all got, what y'all bringing to the table. And so, who wants to go first?
I'll go. I'll start first.
All right, Tim.
I'll start first. So for me, this is the Failed Podcast, right? And you talk about a lot of failures and how to overcome those failures. So I want to talk about the other side of that, which is success, and what success could mean to both of you. Because I feel like right now there's like a blurred line as to what and I don't even know if there's even really a real definition of success. I mean, we could talk about that and figure that out. But I feel like now with like social media and television and celebrity, there's like a perception about what success is supposed to be. And I feel like a lot of people kind of maybe feel like they're not successful because they don't have something or they're not where somebody else is. And I can attest to that and say, for a long time, I thought that because I didn't have a 4-year college degree or I didn't have a nice car or I wasn't married by a certain time, that I wasn't successful. So I kind of just wanted to bring this topic just to kind of let the audience know and maybe figure out like what success could look like to you, anyone.
Yeah.
Taylorean?
I don't know.
For me, it's whatever goal I have set and hitting that goal, like eventually hitting that goal, because like some people say, oh, it's to be this famous or to have this amount of money. I mean, for me, it's whatever you feel it should be. You know what I mean? Like if I want to get here in a certain amount of time, if I want to get here, or if I want to do this, I feel like if you set out to do it and you reach that, I feel like you've been successful. You know what I mean? So it's not always about money or material for me when it comes to success. Like it's whatever you have in your mind what success is.
At what point did your mindset say, I'm not going to let all this outsourced stuff influence what I believe success to be? Because what I'm trying to get at here is like when we have children, how do we teach our children, like, this is not necessarily your path. Your path is your own path. How do we instill that into them? And how did you get to that point? Basically?
I feel like spirituality plays a part in that, like knowing God, knowing who you are. And like I feel like when you know that, then you know how to not compare. Like, you know what I mean? Because even comparing is like devilish. Like it's like comparing yourself and being jealous and envious of somebody. It's not good for you. You know what I mean? So I feel like just being in touch with God and like what you know, as far as like what God is not selfish. God is understanding, loving, all of that. Yeah. And so it's like when you know that, I think you know how to not compare and be envious and be jealous. Because it's like you know what you want as far as success. That's how I think about it.
Well, that's a tough question. And so I'm gonna be honest, okay? If you see me rolling up in a Lambo, it's because I made it.
Yeah,
okay? I'm just saying.
I'm a flex.
Just saying.
For sure.
But here's the thing.
I'm a flex though.
In the beginning, when you're setting your path and you're making your goals, like it's not the end game.
Yeah,
right.
To me, it's not like you should never say, I want everyone to know I'm successful. That is the car. That's the watch.
Right.
That's the plane.
Yeah.
So right now where I'm sitting, I say, what do I need to consider myself successful? Yeah. And it makes it very simple. So for me, it's like to provide for my family. Yeah. To have a little cushion so that I can be creative, right? And to have a good foundation at home. To me, that's successful. And if I have those things, here we go. This is make y'all laugh. Then I can stack a whole bunch of money on top of it.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to lose my family. I'm not going to lose my values. You know what I'm saying? Because, boy, if that ain't there, if that success ain't there first, and you put a little money on top of it, you're going to lose everything. And you're going to lose yourself in the process. And then when you broke again, you're going to be like, a family, provide a little cushion to be creative. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I think of right now. It's like, how am I as a man? How am I as a husband? And how am I as a friend? Like, am I successful in those areas? And I'm not all the way successful, but that's how I'm judging myself first. Yeah. And then I always tell my wife if success comes my way, girl, you better give me an allowance. I was like, if you give me all that money, I'm gonna spend it. Yeah. And the other day I was reading a post my friend put up, and he was asking people, what motivates you to be great? And everyone gave what motivates you today? Yeah. And everyone gave these grand answers. And I'm like, are you kidding? To me, I looked at it and I wanted to tell everyone, is it not your bills? Right? Is it is it whatever you make an hour, $15, $20 an hour? Is that not your motivation? Exactly. But they didn't have the humility to say, I need to pay my house, I need to pay my car. And that's the motivation. Yeah. The motivations we have are very simple. Now, what inspires us, that's very different. Right. But their answers were so unreal. It kind of made me upset. I wanted to go on there and be, say thumb a few things, but I didn't. But for me, it's simple. And if I can't handle it now, well, I ain't gonna handle it later. You know what I'm saying? And so, success is a tough thing, man. I am after it. Culture does kind of paint a picture, and it makes it impossible. But I look at someone like Bezos. And everyone's like, I want to make money. I said, it ain't never enough. Yeah. I said, he's still buying stuff. Right.
Still investing.
It ain't enough, man. He got a boat this year. He wants a bigger boat next year. So it's not, if you put it on stuff, you'll never be satisfied. But he continues to go to work. He continues to do what he likes. And so if you're going to make money, make it in something you're passionate about, because you got to keep showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, your answer is so important, because I feel like people don't understand. To me, what I took away from what you just said is you need to build the foundation first before you reach that level of success. It's not just going to happen. And a lot of people just think it's just going to happen. So it's important that you say that for the audience, because, yes, there is things that you need to take care of first before you get to that level of success that you want to be at. And without that piece of it, a lot of people are hating themselves and depressed, going into depression and all these different things, because what the people did that are successful to get there, you can also do that as well. It's just the part to get there is not being shown to you. It's being, on Instagram, you're seeing the nice cars and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that you said that. And your answer too is really powerful too. That's a really powerful answer too, being closer to God and everything. So yeah.
Thank you, Timothy. Taylorean?
My question was on culture, I would say. And so I was going to say, does culture influence how y'all live day to day, or does it do y'all do things that you feel like the culture views as culture, or do you do things that's just like, no, this is what I feel, or this is how I am, or does it influence like certain decisions that you have?
Tim, you go first.
I'll be honest with you. That one's kind of difficult for me because you know me for a long time now, and me and my wife have this conversation all the time. Like, I didn't necessarily grow up learning a lot of black culture. I kind of had to kind of learn it on my own.
Same.
So now for me, it's just kind of like more so going with what I think and what I believe is right. And then, like, you know, some things I'm still learning, you know, but I don't really let too many things influence me anymore, like how I used to, just as far as culture goes. But there are still a lot of things that I feel like I do need to learn and want to learn. And no, I don't really let like anything influence. I do what I want to do now.
Like, how long did it take for you to get to that though? Like, how long?
I went to therapy. I went to therapy. I started going to therapy last year in February, and I started putting some of these things on the table because I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that, and these things have been bothering me. It's been like something that's really been bothering me internally. And, you know, learning and talking about it in therapy, that's what's kind of opened me up to being able to even say that, you know, I didn't, like, you know, when we were at Nezzy's house and we were playing that what was the name of the game that we were playing where it was like the black culture game?
I forgot the name.
I can't remember the name of the game. But some of the questions that were on there, I was just kind of like, I don't know.
You didn't know it.
Some of them I didn't know. And before, like, I would be embarrassed by that, but I'm not really embarrassed about it anymore.
Don't be embarrassed,
because, you know, I mean, we don't know everything. You know, I don't know everything. You know, I'm not perfect.
I think that helps me understand what you were asking. So for me, culture is so important because it's my roots. It connects me to my parents.
Yeah.
Okay. My grandparents aren't here, but when they were, it helped me connect to them. And so I believe that like family kind of determines like how like the importance of culture because it's your parents and their parents.
Yeah.
So that's why culture is so important for me.
Yeah.
But moving forward, like I think about my daughter and I think about myself in the community and how I impact it, I have my own culture. And that is like kindness, helping others, and being like understanding, because whenever I talk to individuals in different cultures and even like topics that are you don't want to talk about and stuff, I can't go in there with all of my beliefs because then those are all walls. But when I go in with, hey, okay, teach me so that I can teach others,
right?
Then the walls start going down, but I have to be loving, I have to be understanding, and I have to be kind. And if I don't go in there with those, if I go in there with what my grandparents knew, I will be shut your mouth. That ain't right. Like, I will be fighting somebody, man. And so to me, I'm trying to live in a different way as a person. And not let my culture or other cultures, respecting them, but I can't let them be that strong that it deters me from learning.
That's where I am right now.
That's where I'm at
right now. That's why I asked that question, because I've noticed there has definitely been like there's a shift in me happening now, but I feel like
do tell.
Just like in the sense of like I felt like there was a lot of things in culture, like there's things that were like naturally me, I feel, but I feel like there was certain things in culture that it was culture and it was like that's not me really. Like it's just like I was doing it because it was the culture, like. But I feel like now that I'm starting to like, you know, I feel like this is the year where things are just kind of like slowly unraveling with just like healing and peace and all of that. And it's just like, let me find that understanding, because it's like, culture can influence like sometimes too much. And it's like, I feel like we influence culture, but I feel like sometimes culture influences us and we don't even do that.
Like, take this with a grain of salt.
You know what I mean? Yeah, please.
If you catch yourself saying, my mama said, my dad said, my grandma used to say. Like,
I used to do that.
And it's going to cause some drama.
Yeah, I used to do that. And then later on, I used to be like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not even me. Like, I'm literally living, like, life through them, and it's not even what I want.
And it's like, no. My mom taught me this.
Yeah.
My grandparents taught me this.
Yeah.
That's different than what they say, because most of us say stuff that we don't even put to practice. It's best to watch someone's actions than it is to hear their words.
Yeah.
That's more true than anything.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's it. Boy, if you hear someone say
that's
that.
real, though, because a lot of parents used to be like, do what I say, not what I do.
Right.
But they'd be like, but you do the opposite of what you say. Like,
I don't even know you.
Like,
who's that?
Like, so I was like, so kids watch what you do. They don't listen to what you say. So that got to be in sync. You know what I mean?
So like with a bunch of my friends, and I, when rest in peace to all their parents and stuff, but their grandparents or parents pass away, they always say, "Oh, my dad taught me so much," and then I was like, "Well, your dad didn't say nothing. He was always at work. When did he? Teaching is like writing and books and son A, B, C, D. Like my dad's not like that.
Yeah.
But my dad has taught me a lot, but it's from observation. And so I think that also that you have to learn. Okay, what did you observe and what did they really teach you? Because sometimes we put something, my parents taught me this, but they never really taught it. You just saw it. Yeah. And you're trying to make it this truth whenever you're the one who drew it.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, just know what you're learning, and I think it's important. Like my dad taught me work ethic.
Yeah.
He never told me about work ethic. It sucks. Like you get $1 raise every year forever. You have demand. You have all this stress. He didn't tell me. No, I just saw him go to work, come home, and he never had a sick day, and there you go. But he didn't teach me; I just saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's also important: is pay attention to what people are teaching you and what you're observing.
Yeah, I think it's all about taking the good out of everything.
And
knowing how to compartmentalize all of that type of influence and information and growing up. I feel like all of that is just together. You just got to know how to.
You have to know
have
to know how to understand yourself too, and I think
And
that's where I'm at right now. Like how I was saying earlier, like I'm at a point where I'm trying to understand myself more because with the culture thing, like I'm not just completely disconnected from Black culture or anything like that, but there's just a lot of things that I didn't learn growing up, and I'm learning how to like live with that. Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. That was good.
That was really good.
Both of y'all had deep questions. I thought we were gonna have fun. Never mind.
Did you like Drake's last album?
Okay, what can we look forward to if y'all ready for the T&T podcast? What are y'all working on? What's coming up next?
You want to go first?
Just new segments, new ideas, new skits. We want to come back in person. We want to make the quality I'm focused on the quality. I want the quality to be good because when we were potting before, we started out with the Anchor app, and I was recording in my closet. I don't know about you. I was in the closet at the house. And then after that, we moved to Zoom. So now I'm excited to come back and be in person.
Yeah.
We have so many ideas for guests, so many different things that we're working on. I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah, same with Timothy was saying. New ideas, different topics, not just hip hop, but money conversations, mental health conversations, just broad conversations. I mean, of course, culture or whatever, but we're going to talk about just real things like we've been talking about. But yeah, more topics, more guests, new setup, quality, everything. So yeah, this is a rebrand, a new beginning. I love it.
That's great, man. What's one takeaway if you can sum it up? I know we've talked about a lot. But one takeaway that you want the listener to go away with from today's episode?
Be yourself. Be yourself. Be comfortable with being you. Love you. And don't be influenced by too many outsourced things. Just be yourself. That's what I'm on right now. Just be yourself.
I like to say loving God is knowing how to love you'll know how to love yourself better by loving God. So, and don't be influenced by just social media and culture so much that you just lose you. Like, know how to compartmentalize certain things and have conversations and heal. You know what I mean? So,
and if you're an artist, get you an attorney.
We need to find an attorney. Well, guys, thank y'all so much, man, for coming on the on the Felt Podcast with me again. It was great.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to collabing with y'all a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I don't want a big gap to take place again. We need to sit and we need to talk.
Absolutely.
Just keep going, man. I love today's episode. And we'll plug everything that we promised, I hope. The list
I got
and
you.
stuff like that. Send it to me.
We got you.
And then we can see what's going on. We'll set something up for the next time. And I think that was pretty good, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Let me close this thing now. All right, guys. I enjoy these talks, man. They're great, and I love having these guests on. And I have a little something to close. Let me see if it comes out fresh and clean. It says, failing is a natural part of learning and the growth process. It's important to view failure as a stepping stone to success and to use it as an opportunity to learn and improve. Failure is not the opposite of success, but rather a necessary part of it. So embrace it, learn from it, and keep going. Like I always say, we'll see you on the next one.